teams come out onto the park. The MCG roar goes up. Brett Emerton singled out by Roger Lemaire, the French coach, the other day as a player with an enormous future and one that they're really worried about. They'll be worried about the Australian number 10 as well, Harry Kewell, back in the green and gold for the first time in, well, almost 2 years now. Harry promised us some tricks during the week, Paul. I mean, he thought he was going to be up against Lilian Thuram. He hasn't. He's got Christian Karembeu. To my mind, Karembeu is nowhere near the player Thuram is. So we'll see what he can come up with.
I read an article just recently that Pele wrote, and he was mentioning Mark Viduka and Harry Kewell and how important those two players were to Australian football. Even he realised it's not the #1 code of football in this country, but he said on the back of those two, he said this all could change, and I totally agree with him.
Harry Kewell in an interesting role tonight, playing behind Mark Viduka. I'll ask you about that in just a moment, Paul, because there's lots of tactical implications of that. 4 defenders, do they mark one attacker? We'll talk about that shortly, but let's just take in some of this colour here. Despite the fact it's a miserable night, it is also a wonderful night too for Australian football. French fans around the MCG and many Australian fans as well. Marcel Desailly, the French captain. Simon Micallef, the referee tonight. Paul Ocon with the armband on for Australia. We've become so used to that. He's really has taken to that captaincy like a duck to water.
He's a quality player in the middle of the park, as cool as a cucumber. When anybody closes him down, he doesn't run away, he doesn't give the ball away very much. And that's what you need, somebody who can control the pace of the game. Mind you, he's up against the footballer of the year in Zinedine Zidane. It'll be an interesting battle, that one. Who's going to do a lot of the defensive work? I can't imagine either of them would relish it.
Yeah, a lot of great matchups in this contest tonight. Interestingly, there, Ian Knopp, the chairman of Soccer Australia, shaking hands with players after the latest bit. But let's take in the national anthems.
Entendez-vous dans les campagnes où j'ai ces farouches soldats, ils viennent jusque dans nos bois, égorger vos fils et vos compagnes. Vos âmes citoyennes, formez vos bataillons.
One of the most recognised national anthems in the world.
We
magnificent, the noise around the MCG at the end of the national anthems. Now the real deal begins as Australia take on France. They're the world champions, they're the European champions. They're also the current holders of the Confederation Cup, and they're looking to conquer another corner of the globe now with their visit down under to Australia. Zinedine Zidane, regarded as the world's best player, certainly the most expensive player in the world, and he wants to get the best shot he possibly can of the great stars that are here on show tonight. Well, here is the Australian team. Frank Farina has stuck with a team that's already done a very good job on France earlier this year. 3 changes to the team that beat France last June in the Confed Cup. 2 of them are Harry Kewell and Mark Viduka, named together in attack tonight. Perhaps a little bit surprisingly, the 2 are very much in the spotlight. It's the same 4 midfielders with Stan Lazaridis and Brett Emerton outside of Paul Ocon and Josip Skoko. And 1 change at the back, Sean Murphy in for the injured Tony Popovic.
Well, can imagine how Mark Viduka is feeling right now. The last time he played here, he was man of the match. He was paired with Paul Agostino on that occasion, and everybody was in agreement that night. It was a full house. He was absolutely superb. That's the man he's got to beat, Barthez, and I wonder how confident he is after the mistakes he's made in the Premiership in England in the last couple of weeks.
And there's been a few of those. We'll check on the French starting 11. Well, Roger Lemaire was very coy with his team, I must say, leaving it right up until an hour ago before he named it. The one surprise is Christophe Dugarry has earned a starting jersey after some excellent club form. David Trezeguet and Zinedine Zidane, the world's most expensive player at $130 million, completes the attacking triangle. Fabien Barthez was doubtful right until the last minute with a hamstring tweak. He starts, and Christian Karembeu comes in at right back. Well, what can you say about this man? 2 goals in a World Cup final to give a 3-0 victory for France over Brazil in 1998. And Simon Micallef is the man in charge of tonight's match. A big occasion too for the 2 assistants, Kevin Humphreys and Ben Wilson. We've been waiting a long time for this one. France in the all-white, Australia in the green and gold. Kewell and Viduka leading the charge, not just in this match, but in the World Cup games coming up as well. Are they the final 2 pieces in Frank Farina's World Cup jigsaw? A surprise, many being named as the 2 strikers tonight, but Harry Kewell will play behind Mark Viduka in a withdrawn role with a free rein to go where he pleases. He was expected to play on the left-hand side of midfield where he plays for his club team, Leeds United. But a tactical switch by Farina just a couple of days ago, and I'll ask you straight away, Paul Wade, what you think of that situation.
Well, I think if you actually played him up alongside Mark Viduka, he is just going to be man-marked by 2 of the better markers in the world, Desailly and Leboeuf. So to drop him into that midfield come striking position, you create doubts. When you create doubts and you give him a little bit of room, Harry Kewell, he just might do a little bit more damage, and I'm sure that's what Frank Farina was thinking when he made this decision.
Well, there you go, the first roar for a French mistake. Marcel Desailly, the French captain, with a very wayward pass, and the crowd really enjoyed that one. It'll take some time to settle into this game just because of the conditions. Desailly plays it out wide to Vincent Condelar, the left fullback, and Zidane with the first glimpse of his little touch. Another one there from Dugarry. They play the game a certain way, the French, and they play to win, but they also play to entertain. Well, how will France adjust to Kewell in that role? They've got 4 defenders marking 1 attacker in Mark Viduka. We'll see as the game goes on whether anyone pushes on Harry Kewell. They've had all the possession so far. We're 2 minutes in. Australia have barely had a touch. On the same token, France haven't gone anywhere. Now they just play a long ball. Karambert. Perez, who lines up on the right-hand side of midfield. Zidane coming awfully deep to get a touch and get more involved. Leboeuf, who hits a wonderful long ball. Kevin Muscat was putting in a challenge there. This is Trezeguet, Vieira, Zidane. While Australia will be aware of the lack of danger on Mark Schwartz's goal, they'll still want to get into the game. Every player wants to get an early touch and get a pass away, and they can't get near the ball at the moment.
It's quite daunting, isn't it? I mean, you almost think that you can get a touch and then they give it out wide or back to somebody else first time. And you get frustrated and you start giving free kicks away. Now, you don't want to do that anywhere near the 18-yard box because Mark Schwarzer doesn't need that.
It was predictable that one player or another would soon put on a foul, and here's a corner to France. Just to break up the rhythm of the other team, you've got to do something. So there's some work to do in defence for Australia before they've barely had any possession of their own. As Zidane goes across to take the corner. Plenty of movement in the area. Schwarzer comes for it. It's a loose ball. It's stayed. No, it's just gone out. Zidane will have another crack. Schwarzer, short corner. Schwarzer at least a metre or two off his goal line as France swing another one in. Makaleli, Dugarry out wide to Zidane. Ocon, the two captains, as Desailly stays forward. And Ocon with a challenge there to win the ball with determination. It's an early storm to weather for this Australian team. Karambert. Vieira, who is a midfielder, will come deep, he'll push forward. He's got a real hard edge to his game, as well as some brilliant subtlety as well. He's probably the most all-round midfielder in Britain at the moment. Australia get a throw-in. What a relief that will be. Even though all the possession has been France's, Paul, I don't think Frank Farina will be too worried at this stage. How do you feel about that?
Well, look, they haven't really done anything in that front third, and I think that's where Frank Farina will be starting to get worried if that's what starts happening. One thing that happened the last time when they played in the Confederations Cup, that the Australians did keep possession. Now, Aussie teams of the past have struggled to do that. Now, the quality of this team, I'm expecting them to keep the ball a little bit longer.
They will want to just settle into some rhythm of their own as soon as they possibly can. We're in the 6th minute and they haven't had too much of it so far. Fabien Barthez gets a mixture of jeers and cheers. As you mentioned, Paul, some mistakes that have been very well highlighted in the English Premier League recently. For Manchester United, he would have been given a real roasting by his coach over that. How will it affect his international performance? And there's a free kick for France in the corner. Vidmar, guilty of holding back Perez. Robert Perez scored against Australia once back in 1996 in the Olympic Games, and France won by 2-0. Zidane takes it short, and that's well cut out. An important header away there at the front post by Tony Vidmar. Mark Schwarzer, as you can hear, calling out the instructions. Vieira takes over, still Australia waiting to get out of first gear, but they've got a lucky break there, no foul given, and they break forward. There are plenty of players forward too for the green and gold. The ball given away. Amazingly there were 2 on the left and 2 on the right of Mark Viduka, and the ball's been won back. Cool just poking away at the ball. France have it back. That's a great win in the air. At the back by Moore. Ocon, through ball was a brilliant idea to Kuhl, who managed to stay onside. Well cut out at the back by Leboeuf. The game opens up now. Here's Dugarry in some space. A little through ball for Trezeguet. That's a great tackle by Muscat coming in from the right-hand side, an important one as well, as Trezeguet was just about to unload a shot.
He had to make that one. He had to win the ball. Referee would have pointed to the spot straight away, at least a yard inside. And you don't need that from Mark Schwarzer. And that might be a problem. I always think that players passing the ball back to goalkeepers is not taking the responsibility themselves.
And these conditions as well make it an extra risky ploy. It's important that Australia hold firm as the ball comes to Trezeguet. One thing which we learnt about this Australian team, Paul, in the Confederation Cup is they are a team that can really hang in there when they're under pressure. There were a number of times there against Brazil and against France that the team was under a lot of pressure, but the defence looked fairly solid that whole time. Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. It's a very solid back four. Vidmar, Moore, Murphy and Muscat have been there right since Frank Farina took over. Maybe not Mark Schwarzer, but certainly those four know exactly what Frank Farina wants, and you're quite right, they'll fight tooth and nail.
Kuhl and Emerton combining. Viduka's waiting in the centre. Kuhl's going it all on his own. Here's Viduka. Well, it's a free kick just outside the area. Welcome home, Harry. His first touch. And he ran at two French defenders and got past him, and it needed a foul by Makelele.
I think that's why Frank Farina has put him in that not midfield, not striking role. He's somewhere in between. He can get the ball, he can run forwards towards goal. If he pushes him too far forward, he's always got his back towards goal, and you don't need Harry Kuhl in that situation.
Look at Harry Kuhl there, just explaining to Stan Lazaridis what's required here. Lazaridis, the free kick taker from that side of the ground, but it was Skoko's free kick that got the goal in the Confed Cup, with Clayton Zane finishing off. He'll take it. Lazaridis does! Will hit someone to keep it out. And now the referee waves play on, and France break. There's a French player down, but Perez is in possession down that left-hand side. Zidane. Trezeguet back to Vieira. Pressure forcing France back. Kalele will play it out wide, and that's a loose ball. 10 minutes.
Paul, I can tell you that the word from the sideline down here from the coaching staff is very clear, and that is get Harry Kuhl on the ball.
I can understand that. Thank you, Craig Foster. Schwarzer dropped it. Well, a slippery ball, but it was kept out by Mark Schwarzer, as Craig Moore completing the clearance. But already we are seeing openings at both ends. Skoko saying that there was some contact with the ball. Like a number of Australian players still trying to work his way into the game. Dugarry to Zidane. It's an interesting ball, whipped across. The header is offside, surely. Schwarzer held it anyway. To his credit, Leboeuf was offside. The flag had gone up. The play will go on. Viduka playing on his home ground, in his hometown. Kuhl couldn't get to that one. Fabien Barthez again with a mixed response from this crowd. Zidane, what a wonderful turn that was, just glided away from Skoko. Makelele. Perez. He's got Christian Karambeur outside him. I watched the French team train yesterday, and they Played a lot of possession stuff, short passes. Maintaining possession, and they've won a free kick here after the foul on Trezeguet.
They want to try and keep these free kicks to a minimum. I mean that is obvious because the height difference between the French team and the Aussies stands out when you get the likes of Leboeuf and Desailly going forward, and you've got Vieira up there as well. All of these boys well over 6'4", 5", and any balls knocked into that 18-yard box are going to be difficult to handle.
Well, the rain continues to come down at the MCG as Ocon finds Emerton, who you can sense is just itching to have it run at Vincent Candelar. Kuhl's ball just cut out. Zidane on the ball now. Trezeguet, Zidane. Ocon prepared to commit himself to the tackle to try and win the ball. It doesn't come off. This is Bugatti fouled. Muscat. He's beaten by a quicker opponent there in Christophe Dugarry. He made his international debut against Australia. Dugarry in that 1994 French win by a goal to nil. Zidane whips one in. Schwarzer, solid as a rock.
Very solid at the back, Paul, and thankfully so for Mark Schwarzer. But it's a very dangerous game we're playing, isn't it, Paul Wade? We're going to give away free kicks outside the box like we have done in the first opening minutes. Then at some point, Zidane, the greatest player in the world, will make us pay.
He certainly will. He's a quality free kick taker. I don't know, I mean, that one was given away by Kevin Muscat. It's difficult for the boys. They're going to find it hard to keep their feet. These French team are very tricky on the ball, as you can see already. It needs a bit of patience.
Here's where the problem lies.
Zidane on his own, well cut out. Australia have some players forward. One of them is Kuhl. It's just cut out by Patrick Vieira. Well, the shape of the game is really quite apparent. Australia having to sit back, soak it up, and when they do get the ball, they'll want to attack Roger Lemaire's side very quickly on their counter-attack. They've got the players to do it as well, with Kuhl and Emerton, real high-octane players. Ocon helping it on, and behind the defence for Emerton to chase. Barthez with the first-time clearance. Reading an article on him in the match programme, and he admitted quite freely that during 90 minutes of football he loses concentration and his mind wanders off to other places.
I guess that's what the eccentric footballers are all about. They're not the norm.
This football is not the norm either. Brilliant move from Australia, just too far ahead from Emerton, but his back heel, Kuhl took up the cause and skipped past an opponent. What an exciting team Australia really have the potential to be. Ocon goes back to Schwarzer. Trezeguet thought it was a back pass that was worth chasing just because of the conditions.
Well, it's a crime, isn't it, that players of the quality that we have out there are passing the ball back to a goalkeeper whose job is to use his hands.
Zidane got past a couple there, one to the back post. No one on the edge of the area for Australia. Karambir in some space. French pressure is mounting on the Australian goal. Schwartz has come for that one, and he punches. There's Emerton in some space. Haven't seen that too often. Muscat with the call away by Schwarzer. Viduka just tried to chest it down to Harry Kuhl there.
Well, the difference between the victory in the Confederations Cup and today is that this French national team, and it is very different to the last one.
Danger at the moment for Australia, but that's very well won at the back. And that's an Australian free kick.
This French national team are putting pressure on right in the defensive third of the Socceroos. They're not waiting for them over the halfway line as they did at the Confederations Cup. And I'm sure they're very uncomfortable on the ball at the moment. It's horrible conditions, but when you add a little bit of pressure to that, at the moment the boys seem to be panicking and can't get their rhythm.
I think it's in midfield, Wadey, where we're losing the battle at the moment. We're outnumbered in there, and Paul Ocon and Josip Skoko are doing it very tough.
Yeah.
They've got 2 on 3, and when Zidane's getting on the ball, he's causing all sorts of problems for us. They're keeping good width also, and Christian Karambou in particular out wide on, and Jugari on the left, causing us a lot of problems.
Zidane always causing problems. That will be an Australian free kick. What's the possible solution to that outnumbered situation? Craig, perhaps bring Lazaridis in or get Harry to drop a bit deeper just temporarily to help out. What do you think? Correct.
When you play 4-4-2, you've only got 2 in the centre of the park, and if you are outnumbered, Paul, you need to shuffle. It's almost a chance for Harry Kewell with his speed, but you need to shuffle, and we need to bring Lazaridis in when it's on the left-hand side and bring Emmett in when it's on this side. You simply can't leave the players of the calibre that the French have, Patrick Vieira and Zidane and Pires, 3 of the finest midfielders going around in world football.
Makaleli to meet the ball. Well won by Muscat. Ocon gives it back to him. Emerton had 2 on him very quickly. French team were concerned that the MCG was a little bit firm for them. The surface was too hard. That was the problem for Lilian Thuram, who was out of tonight's match with a bad back, apparently, when they trained here the other day. But they are finding it to their liking at the moment as they come forward here. This is Pires. Well, this is some good defending from this Australian team from Lazaridis. Very crucial that contact with the ball was made. And in the spirit, well, that's the only friendly thing I've seen so far. Lazaridis helped him up. As Pires takes the corner, Schwarzer comes. Loose ball. Zidane can't get over the ball. Schwarzer came off his line, as he has done throughout the game. Interestingly, in these appalling conditions, both coaches choosing to stand outside in the rain, outside the dugout. Jugari with a little flick to Perez and gets it back. Australia got a touch in there, and Ocon wins the ball. He is the main ball winner and ball contester in the centre of the midfield at the moment. Well, we haven't got a midfield of ball winners really, with Emerton, Lazaridis and Skoko there, with Kewell helping out as well. There's no one apart from Ocon who's really going to put himself about in the tackle.
Yes, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, you want to play football, and I know these guys now, well, if you play in the English Premier League, you know, you've got to work hard and you've got to try and win that ball back, but it's going to be increasingly difficult for Paul Ocon. He's trying to keep Makaleli quiet, he's trying to keep the likes of Zidane quiet, and then he's got somebody like Vieira who's not getting involved until he really has to.
Perez inside to Vieira, the 2 Arsenal men combining. Makaleli from Real Madrid. Condela from Roma, the Italian champions. It's a glittering array of football talent on show. Christian Karambou, a former teammate of Paul Ocon and Mark Schwarzer at Middlesbrough. And Australia win the ball. A little bit of space on the right-hand side. Here's Harry Kewell. They'll fancy a go at the French defenders. Emerton supporting, onside. Kewell again. Knew the player was there. That's great awareness. Harry Kewell flicking it on. Looking at the referee for some assistance there. Well, he's really expressing himself, which is always exciting for the fans. an easy one. This time, a rare easy one for Skoko, Viduka, Lazaridis for the first time in a bit of space as well. Patrick Vieira is winning everything and controlling a lot as well for France. He and Zidane as Australia win it back. Now they're starting to win a few more of those challenges. Lazaridis with a chance to lengthen the stride. Still going Lazaridis. Vieira again getting a touch on the ball. That's going to run out for a French throw. Still 0-0.
Well, the only thing you'd say to Stan, when he's got hold of that ball and he's only got Carambao in front of him, Carambao, for the last time these two teams met, played in the middle of the park. I don't know whether he's got the best of engines. I don't know whether he's speedy. Stan, just take him on. Just take him on out wide. Don't cut back into the middle, because that's where all the white shirts are. We don't need that. We need it out wide, hit the byline, get across him for Mark Viduka.
Ocon takes over. Here is Mark Viduka. Harry Kewell's away to the right. Just helping it on to Emerton, but he couldn't quite keep it in.
He's unlucky, but I think also what Stan needs, Wadey, there is he needs some support. He needs Mark Viduka to come across, and he also needs Harry Kewell in behind there to come square for him so he can play the 1-2 to get around Carambou. It's too easy for Carambou there. He knows it's one-on-one, and you know what he's going to do, Paul Wade. He's going to show Lazar inside and give him only one way to go.
Absolutely.
Straight into traffic.
Vieira finally lost a tackle, and it was Paul Ocon significantly. Viduka. Well, Carambou guilty of the foul of Mark Viduka. Viduka copped a wrap around the ankles for his trouble there. We'll see if there was... Well, there was some contact with the ball, no doubt, as well as the player.
Those tackles, of course, are going to happen in these conditions tonight, Paul, aren't they? And rightfully so. I think Simon Micallef is going to show a good part of discretion tonight.
Well, he's very understanding. He knows he's been there, done that.
Lazaridis in the area trying to do a bit of himself. And McGriff got a touch in there, but Lazaridis got past him. Well, Harry Kewell was expected to play in that wide left midfield role. Lazaridis got the nod, and he's a sort of wholehearted player. He's never let his country down. Zidane glides past one, helps it on to another. Trezeguet gave it back. Zidane said, I was never going to get that.
He was never going to get it because Craig Moore, being just as experienced, wouldn't let him run past him. You can see he's giving Craig Moore a bit of a look now.
Skoko, Kewell. Well, a little foul there, but play will go on. That's definitely a foul. Well, Ocon quick to apologise, and that may enable him to get a little bit of sympathy from Simon Micallef. It was late. Ocon being spoken to by the referee now. Paul Wade, you've been in that situation a few times. What's the ref saying to him?
Well, in the old days, they would say, listen, I'll meet you in the bar after the game, but because he has to make the crowd look as if he's having a word with him, he'd probably just say, listen, Paul, pull your head in. I'll give you one more chance.
Six minutes gone here at the MCG. Australia 0, France 0. Barthez is about 15 metres outside his penalty area. Maybe he's getting a bit bored and his mind's wandering. We'll see. Kewell lays it off. Skoko. That's Lazaridis. He's got nowhere really to go. Running out of options. Moore gives him one at the back. Here's Sean Murphy. Playing with a little bandage around the knee, Sean Murphy. Has had some tendinitis all season. Hasn't missed a game for his club, Sheffield United. That's a wayward one from Skoko. Zidane just waiting there and wins it. Now a break for Lazaridis. Have a go. That's what the crowd want. He showed a little bit too much of the ball there to Carambou, but That was his intention. There's no cover on Karambeu there, interestingly. We've seen that a couple of times. Some space in behind the French fullback.
They're leaving him exposed, aren't they? Stan's just got to be a little bit more confident, a bit more positive. Go on, take him on again.
Mark Viduka hasn't been in the game so much as yet. Oh, that was a great challenge. Brilliant tackle by Tony Vidmar. Perez looked to be well past him, and Vieira puts one in of his own on Paul Ocon as the game just goes up a notch or two with the tackling. This is Tony Vidmar on Perez. Just got a toe in on the ball there. Perfectly timed in these conditions. Kuhl will keep this in. There's no one in the centre. Kuhl keeps the ball in, and Barthez had to come. Well, Harry Kuhl had no one to whip the cross over to, so he took his man on with the absolute minimum of space to move in. How did he keep that one in? Great pace to keep it in. Got behind Leboeuf. The ball, well, good judgment from Barthez. Let's give him a bit of credit as well there. So now Australia can put some pressure on this French defence. Lazaridis, Zidane, what a casual clearance that was. Breaking free nicely. Kuhl onto the left foot. Skoko. Players waiting in the centre. All they need is a delivery. Back to Kuhl. 2 to beat. Goes past them both. 0-0 at the MCG. But Harry Kuhl in the last minute or so has shown what he has on offer, and there's absolutely plenty of it. Ocon goes back. More with the first-time ball to Tony Vidmar. That's a nice, thoughtful pass to Viduka. Can he hold it up? Not easy in these conditions with a big burly defender behind you. We've seen Mark Viduka play against Marcel Desailly a number of times for Leeds against Chelsea. Scored in a couple of games against Chelsea as well. He doesn't enjoy playing against that club. See if he enjoys against that particular opponent as the game goes on. Zidane able to turn on a sixpence, as they say, and the ball is still in. It's across the goal. Lazaridis at the back post. No French player there, which was fortunate. Perez will take the corner. 12-1. Straight to a French shirt, and the flag's up for offside. Well, Australia have played the current world champions on 4 occasions in their history. They've won 2 of those games, drawn 1 and lost 1. They beat Argentina 4-1 in 1988. That's a memorable game for my colleague on my left. They also beat France 1-0 earlier this year, so 2 out of 4 against the world champions is a terrific record. They are a country that really thrives on taking on the big opponents and bringing them down to size.
Seem to be dropping very deep, Paul Wade, don't we? And starting defending really in our own half. I'd love to see us start to defend a little bit higher up the pitch. Put a lot more pressure on them in midfield.
Well, Perez was robbed again by some very resolute Australian defending.
It's a very big ask, isn't it? You know how well they can keep the possession, the French.
Kuhl inside, and that's a beautiful switch of play by Australia. We've got players forward here into the area. Leboeuf required to play it across. It was Skoko and Emerton combining.
you commit yourself forward and you try and take the ball off them in their defensive third. And knowing how well they can keep possession, they're just going to play the balls all over you. And there's big spaces in between the defence and the goalkeeper because they've moved out. The Socceroos have moved out, I mean. And it's just the sort of space that Trezeguet and Zidane can run into and start creating problems.
Well, how quick did Zidane just move the ball on them when there was a player right on him. What can he come up with this time? Unpredictable, without a doubt. That's a great ball. Pulled it back, coming in, Makelele! Well, that's a fine move. Zidane very much at the heart of it, conducting the French orchestra, and Makelele trying to finish it off. Great layback from Dugarry. Makelele over the bar. Chested down by Skoko for Ocon. Well done to Kuhl. Not too much on for him, so he thought he'd try and surprise Barthez. Fabian Barthez, he's barely trained yesterday, just did a few light laps around the park. Tweaked his hammy a couple of days prior to that, and there was real concerns that he wouldn't play. He was left right till this afternoon before they made that decision. France still have the ball, away by Sean Murphy. Always takes up that position at the near post on that side of the park. It's very hard to get past. Murphy again coming in here with Muscat. That was a foul on Kevin Muscat. Another Melbourne boy. Used to play his football at Heidelberg and South Melbourne. Now he's captain of Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are currently top of the English First Division. Vieira. The referee was right on the spot there to see what was happening there. A smile from Harry Kuhl. SOE asking Vieira to push up. Aiming for Viduka, chesting it down to Lazaridis. Flag is well and truly up. Kuhl's offside. Australia's record in 2001 is they've won 9 and lost 4. They haven't drawn a game. Scored 78 goals, but if you followed their World Cup qualifying campaign, you'll understand why. With so many small Pacific nations to play against who weren't that strong. 22-0 victory, a 31-0 victory in games, so it's fairly easy for them. Conceded 9. Interestingly enough, France haven't drawn a game this year either. They've played 12, won 9, lost 3. So a draw is an unlikely result. Well, Patrick Vieira went down in a heat there for sure because of the challenge by Skoko, who immediately goes over and apologises. And Roger Lemaire looks on.
Well, the ball was there to be won. I don't think Skoko can be really blamed for this one.
It's Australia 0, France 0, with 9 minutes to go until half-time. So Skoko slid in. Well, it was a genuine attempt at the ball. As Harry Kuhl, a little touch on. Onside! Oh, touched over by Barthez. Emerton holds his head in disbelief because that was a quite wonderful save from the French goalkeeper. Australia's best move of the game. Kuhl at the heart of it, really running. Emerton onside. The offside trap was sprung. He did everything right, Paul Wade, and that was a top-class save.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's just a delight to watch, isn't he? Every touch Harry Kewell makes, he never overruns the ball. His next touch is just another part of his stride, and I think that's why he's so electrifying every time he takes the park for Leeds United.
Lazaridis with the corner. Aussie hearts are up. Australia's best chance of the match, and probably the best chance of the match. Kewell again keeps it in. Players at the back post for Australia. Their best spell of the game, without a doubt, as Zidane just tries to steady the French ship. And Perez has time as well. Well, if there's a question mark about Barthez's fitness coming into the game, that question has been answered. France in a flash. Come down the other end, and it's an easy one for Schwarzer.
Oh, there are only a few highlights for the Socceroos in this first 45 minutes, but that Harry Kewell run has to be one of them. Mark Viduka's been a little bit quiet also. Brett Emerton has been a bit quiet on that right-hand side. Stan Lazaridis has had the ball a few times, but I'd like to see him a little bit wider, force the issue, get the ball out wide to him rather than coming inside. And let Tony Vidmar do a little bit more work defensively and allow Stan to get forward.
Confidently back to Schwarzer from Muscat. That was very nicely done indeed. He's been an international for 10 years now, Kevin Muscat, starting way back in 1991 with the Australian under-20 team. So many of this Australian team have been developed together through the various junior teams of Australia. Viduka also played in the under-20 team and the Olympic team twice. Now the full Socceroo team. Ocon the same. That pass is easily cut out by Desailly, who stepped in front of Viduka. Trezeguet. Dugarry waiting for some options. Makelele to Vieira. Zidane. Perez, that's a good ball for Vieira. A very deep run, but he couldn't keep it in. Patrick Vieira hasn't scored for Arsenal this year. Trying to get forward to at least score for his country. Very much the leader in the centre of midfield for this French team. Murphy to Ocon with a very quick layoff to Craig Moore. He's got plenty of space to move into if he wants to. Lazaridis, well, the flag's up for offside there. Mark Viduka hasn't played for Australia since March of last year, when Australia were beaten 3-1 by Czech Republic. He's just started to get into scoring mood in the English Premier League as well. Several goals in cup competitions, as well as a couple in the league. Leeds United coach David O'Leary was saying that he was hoping that Viduka and Kewell would come back and really explode on for the rest of the season, like Viduka did last year when he came back to Australia for the Olympics. He went back to England and just could not stop scoring for Leeds United. Emerton, another one of those brilliant back heels. Ocon, Emerton's running through. Ocon holds the ball up. Now Emerton, time to turn. Viduka's waiting in the centre. That will be an Australian corner. A real flair from this team as well as being solid.
Well, there's a perfect example of how they can attack if they put themselves in a more positive frame of mind. I think they haven't had the ball too much in this first 45 minutes, and they've been a little bit cautious to go forward. I'm talking about Kevin Muscat and Tony Vidmar, but if they can afford a little bit more room, they'll get more involved.
Just under 3 minutes to go until half-time. As they say, the perfect time to score. Stan Lazaridis wanders back after taking the corner. Muscat to take the throw. Right into the corner for Kuhl. He hasn't got much room to move there. But he wins the corner. He's 23 years of age now. We forget that when Harry first made his mark internationally, it was 4 years ago in the World Cup qualifiers. He scored in the home leg and in the away leg against Iran. What's happened to him since then? As the corner comes in, they've got to play in the near post! An Australian goal just before half-time. What a moment for Craig Moore. We saw several corners taken by Lazaridis on that side, cut out at the near post very easily. Australia moved the player in front of the first French defender. The flick-on came, and what an unlikely scorer, but what a delighted scorer in Craig Moore.
Well, I was starting to get concerned about the delivery from the corners from Stan Lazaridis. But I think it was Tony Vidmar who got his head to it, just flicked it on the slightest of flicks. And the rest was done. But you get a lucky break in football. The ball came back off the post when they played him in the Confederations Cup, and Clayton Zane was there.
Lazaridis. Here's Harry Kuhl. Well, there were around 65,000 people right on their toes as Kuhl came in for the volley. Everyone was up. Lazaridis is free on the left for the first time in a game. On the wrong foot, really, for Kuhl, but he's still got plenty of meat on the shot. And here come France. Perez, as the game comes to life just before the break. And that will be a corner. Well, there's a bit going on here, Muscat and Perez. Well, Simon Mikulev's got to calm things down here. Well, Perez and Muscat are going toe-to-toe. Condola having his say as well.
Well, this is the friendly we were talking about. This is how much it means to both of these teams. Especially the French now, they've gone one goal down.
Well, you see the way Craig Moore was looking at Patrick Vieira, there was nothing calming down about those comments. It was a look of take me on if you dare from Moore. Well, Vieira went back off, that's for sure. None of these players will as the corner comes in. The shot comes in, it was away. Perez fired one in, it was not hit cleanly. Zidane, plenty of French players forward. It'll be another corner. We've had over a minute of time added on. And there is the half-time whistle. Australia survive a late scare. But they provided a late moment themselves when Craig Moore ran home a header from an Australian set piece. The crowd went up, the MCG roar was heard. And Australia go in at half-time ahead of the world champions. Australia 1, France 0. While the players make their way off, there's a lot to do at half-time for Roger Lemaire and for Frank Farina. Plenty left in this game. We'll take a break and be back with more soon. Here It's not this match, it's the World Cup. This is an indicator for the next two games. If you were a South American team watching this and seeing Australia, what would be going through your mind?
But you can keep possession for long periods of time, and if you work the ball round like only South Americans can, and as we've seen from the French today, that it can be done. You just need to be a bit patient, and it will open up, but you better make sure you've got enough people at the back, because the Aussies are pretty resolute and they'll make sure you pay at the other end with the likes of Viduka and Kuhl. So caution on one hand as far as these South Americans go, but the ability to knock the ball around in midfield and create chances at the other end.
Well, the message from Frank Farina at half-time, guys, was more of the same. Thank you very much. He says they weathered the storm very well in the first 15 or 20. They expected France to come here, come out fighting, which they did. They took all the heat that they could give, and he says, well done, Mark Schwartz. I kept them in the game. But he said the first 15 minutes of the second half, Paul Wade, is the most important part of this match. He said, no doubt, they're 1-0 behind. They will come out firing in the second half.
Yeah, especially in cold weather like this, if you've not warmed up properly for the second 45.
The second half about to start here at the MCG, with Australia ahead of the world champions and the European champions, France. They're watching it live on TV throughout France at the moment, and they're rubbing their eyes in disbelief at the scoreline, I'm sure. But this Australian team has a self-belief that is growing by the minute here. No changes for either of the two teams, though. Wiltor and Carrière, the two players warming up for the French at half-time. And this is Dugarry playing it across, and it trickled into Schwartz's arms with Trezeguet waiting in the centre. Roger Lemaire. What did he say to his team at half-time? I can imagine that wasn't too pleasant. To go down to Australia twice in 1 year would be embarrassing for him. There's no doubt about it. There's no other word for it either, really. It would be embarrassing and humiliating. But Ocon has a little bit of a problem at the moment.
Paul, our spy in the French camp near the French bench, says that at half-time, Lemaire has torn strips off his team, and he's not happy with the boys up front. And the word is that Anelka, Carrière and Viltord are all warming up, and they will come on in the first 15 minutes of this half.
Well, when that first attack started from the French, they had 4 players in a line alongside Craig Moore and Murphy, Vidmar and Muscat. So if that's any indication as to the next 45 minutes, we're in for an absolute beauty.
Well, the more that France push on and push ahead on Australia, the more the Socceroos can exploit this real counter-attacking quality that's come into this team. We haven't really seen many Australian teams in the past that have been great counter-attackers, really quick on the break, but this team certainly is. A little bit more space perhaps too for Harry Kuhl. Lazaridis, what can they do with this corner? Another chance for Lazaridis to take the cross. France push out, player free at the far post. That will be easy for Barthez. Well, we haven't seen any Barthez magic moments so far. Apart from that wonderful save by him on Brett Emerton, you can get a magic moment which can be quite brilliant or perhaps a little bit embarrassing. Carambert is in possession. Zidane, we're expecting him to step up in the second half. Makaleli. Emerton tried a little back heel, didn't come off this time. Quite a few of them have though. Here's Condelar. Perez taking on Muscat. That's a nice pass. Perez again, across, a goal. And it will count. The flag stays down. France have equalised.
Well, I'm asking a big question here.
Was it offside? It happened so quickly. We will need the benefit of a replay, but it was a great move. Condela had Perez outside him. He took on Muscat. Closed down as well.
Yeah, the number 7 we're looking for. In line, Paul?
I think it was a fraction off, to be honest. Well, it doesn't matter what I think. Trezeguet knocked it in. It's 1-1. Very close, though. Very, very close. Flags up. No such luck for Australia at the other end. Well, Craig Foster, you mentioned about the first 15 minutes and how important they were, and that's a perfect response from France.
Yes, very much so, and it's an absolute nightmare for Frank Farina. It's what he certainly would have drilled into his players at half-time, just that scenario, not to let it happen. But it was wonderful passing from the French team, in particular from Perez, the ball into the box. But this is precisely, Paul, the reason why we had to have this game. Frank Farina, I think now, will really see what this team is made of.
Yeah, I haven't been totally happy with the fullbacks. I think they haven't got involved going forward enough. They haven't helped out the midfielders enough, and maybe that's why they weren't quick enough to stop that ball going in.
Scott Azaridis and Viduka. Mark Viduka going in on goal. Played it across. Just a little bit too far for Harry Kewell. Kewell with the cross himself. Viduka's underneath it. Just the bounce didn't go his way. And Mark Viduka got behind the defence there. Looked for Harry Kewell at the other side, and the moment was lost in a fraction of a second. The game has certainly opened up a bit compared to the first half, and Zidane at the heart of so much of the good things from France. Makaleli. Makaleli goes back to Leboeuf. Space here. Perez, Trezeguet, Vieira, Ocon, working hard to organise the shape of his team in midfield. Zidane. Muscat trying to get there. Zidane with a bigger body. Muscat did very well to just nudge the world's best player off the ball there. The way the France have started the second half, it could be a long 45 for Australia. Very much in a similar vein to the first half, with all of the possession to the men in white. Well, Australia will find out who their World Cup opponent will be on Thursday morning, Australian time. It could be Brazil. It's more than likely going to be Uruguay. And Colombia are also in with a shout as well, though they do need certain results to go their way. It's a mistake. Condela well over the bar. Vincent Condela plays for Italian champions Roma in Serie A. He's probably regarded as the best left-hand sided player in Serie A, or certainly in the top two. Muscat rarely gives the ball away, but it was a mistake by him there. Either team can use 6 substitutes in this game. Fairly liberal use. And you can expect moves to be made soon, particularly from France, as Kewell couldn't get past Desailly, who timed his tackle. Marcel Desailly, rock solid at the heart of the French defence. And Kewell furious that he didn't get a throw-in. France forward. Zidane could go alone. Australia are stretched at the back. Trezeguet is with him. Here's Perez. And that will be a goal kick. It's a more open game in this half, Paul.
It certainly is. That was a great run by Trezeguet. He had played no part in it, but he dragged about 3 green shirts along with him. It just opened the space for Zidane to run into. I don't know what you can do. I mean, Makelele is in there, Vieira's in there, Zidane is dropping back in, and you've only got Paul Ocon and Skoko, who are more creative than defensive, and they are just getting torn apart at the moment. These two fullbacks, Kevin Muscat and Tony Vidmar, have got to get more involved. Whether they can help Emerton and Lazaridis out and push them further forward, I'm not quite sure, but they've got to find some way of getting involved in this game.
Just over the head there of Trezeguet. More Muscat now finds Emerton. I haven't seen him run at opponents too often today. Emerton hasn't had too many chances. Ball given away by Desailly. Now Emerton turns and faces up. Muscat. Emerton wants it again. There's the space. Well, Condola, no slouch either. The ball somehow stayed in there. And it's going to be a free kick. It's still Australia 1, France 1. Ball given away by Condola. A favour return from Muscat. Dugarry. Oh, that's a challenge that was late by Muscat, and France not happy about this, and I can understand that. There's a card out, and it's all on here at the MCG. France and Australia. Well, even the substitutes are involved. Well, Roger Lemaire is talking to some Australian players. Graham Arnold is holding back Patrick Vieira. Dugarry, meanwhile, is down. Barthez has come all the way. Everyone involved there, substitutes as well as players, and the final outcome, and it has to be a yellow card for Kevin Muscat.
Well, he's a very lucky man, Kevin Muscat. It was a disgraceful tackle, but what happened to incite the rest of it, I'd like to know. I mean, that is an ordinary tackle. Kevin will put his hand up for that, but he doesn't usually get angry. Somebody must have... Well, if they've only said something, then Kevin is very lucky to be on the park. If they've done something to him, then that might be a different story. If they've incited what he did, but if they've only said something, then Kevin Muscat should be a bigger man than that.
Well, I would hope too that he's being reminded that a red card in this match means suspension for the World Cup qualifiers, which is more important than anything else that's at stake here. And Dugarry is really hurt. He's genuinely hurt, no doubt about that. Frank Farina is laying down the law to Paul Ocon about what's required now in this situation. I think that was more tactical than anything else, but temperament-wise, there is some calming down to be done out there. It's an opportunity for Farina to talk to his player, and the two captains, Marcel Desailly and Paul Ocon, having a bit of parley of their own.
Looks like they're going to take...
The two coaches also exchanging a couple of words. So what will the response be?
I wonder if they're taking Kevin Muscat off. It's not a bad move from Frank Farina if they do. The last thing they need is him hurt. Yeah, it looks like that's the case.
Well, it's John Aloisi who's going on in his place, and that's a very smart move by Frank Farina.
Very much so.
There's a bigger picture to think of here. Muscat will play no further part in the game, but there will have to be a reshuffle, and I think you'll find that Stan Lazaridis drops back to left fullback, and Tony Vidmar switches over to right fullback as the screws are tightened in the game for France. The stakes go up. So interesting. Here we go, Wadey. Harry Kewell's at left half. Lazaridis behind him at left fullback. That's the way we thought we'd start from the word go with Kuehl in that position.
Well, if he can take on Carambau, and I'm sure he can, there just might be some quality crosses to get Mark Viduka involved in this game. And John Aloisi's not a bad marksman either.
He's been in terrific form for Osasuna. Scored a quite brilliant goal just a week ago against Deportivo La Coruña. He opened up the whole defence all on his own. He's very skillful. He's got a good thinking brain. Let's hope it's the end of the aggression in the game. When I say that, I mean aggression that's unnecessary.
He'll be a handful now, Viltord. As I said earlier, he'll get the ball, he'll run at you. He'll play left wing, right wing. He'll be in the middle. He'll go back into midfield. And now he knows he's only got about half an hour to play. He just might do twice as much work.
Just to confirm, Sylvain Wiltor on for Christophe Dugarry. Zidane tried to clip it inside Ocon, and Ocon turned quickly to his credit. It's an Australian throw. We have had just about 15 minutes of the second half. It's all square at the MCG. Australia trying to turn the French Peacocks into feather dusters with another embarrassing defeat. Leboeuf, who can hit a 40 or 50 metre pass from that position with the greatest of ease. Zidane with the gentle touch, and that's gone out. So it's Viduka and Aloisi up front for Australia. Kuehl on the left of midfield. Great touch by Emerton. How many back heels has he done today, Brett Emerton? That must be 4 or 5. Viduka. Desai comes forward. Zidane can't get there. Vidmar plays it forward early, and Emerton tries to just whip it on quickly to Aloisi. Zidane has a player going outside him. It's a decoy run. Emerton back, helping out. Schwarzer set away. Emerton went back to the goalkeeper. Pires. Wiltor, great control. Wiltor. Craig Moore, important interception that. Wiltor adds a real bit of zip to the French forward line. He's lightning fast. Zidane closed down quickly. Still manages to keep the ball. Australia win it back now with Craig Moore, and that's calm play from him. Skoko goes back to Schwarzer. Was there something off the ball there, Trezeguet or Moore, or was it an accident? Moore went down anyway, and the crowd saw it. That's a French throw-in. They've lost to Spain this year. They've lost to Chile this year. And they have lost to Australia this year. And Frank Farina is furious about something. But only one team has kept them scoreless this year, and that's Australia. But Emerton has been bringing out some party pieces tonight. That's one that didn't come off. Most of them have done. So space now for Lazaridis. Kuehl got there first. Great play by Harry Kuehl. Two waiting in the centre. Emerton flags up, won't count, even though it just goes over the bar. Well, Paul, we've talked about Mark Viduka and Harry Kewell returning back to the team, and clearly offside there. But Emerton on this sort of form is of that same calibre.
I think he's got another cock to go up. The last time they played, he was far more influential than he is tonight, and you can see how much trouble he's causing tonight at times. I think he's been a little bit restricted on this right-hand side. Whether Tony Vidmar hasn't pushed on and given him that cover to push him on, I'm not quite sure.
Condolar could not take the ball with him. Emerton trying to take advantage of it. Here's Viduka. There was a whistle in the crowd there, and it certainly made me hesitate. I wonder if Mark Viduka just hesitated there as well. It looked like it. France, a nation that have dismissed many opponents, quality opponents, with just a Gallic shrug of the shoulders, making it look very easy indeed. They've beaten Portugal 4-0. They beat Japan and Korea both by 5-0. They beat Mexico 4-0. This is all results this year. It's the greatest of ease. And Schwarzer will come out and gather that cross with the greatest of ease. Got it back off Paul Ocon's foot there. Vieira bringing in Leboeuf. Space on the right-hand side, a lot of it as well for Sylvain Wiltord. Cutting inside, skips past a couple. Zidane, Wiltord flags up for offside. It won't count. Australia 1, France 1. Wiltord clearly offside. There was a certain similarity to that move as the first goal, and France make a couple of changes. Makelele comes off, and Carrière is coming on, and Nicolas Anelka's about to come on as well for David Trezeguet. Substitutes used. Oh, it's a mistake. Nicolas Anelka gifted one there. So it's Anelka and Wiltord in attack for France. Eric Carrière is a very attacking-minded midfielder playing alongside Zidane just behind the front two. There is Carrière. Plays for Lyon in France. Viduka is involved, and that's a ball from Aloisi. To Aloisi, rather. It was intended by Mark Viduka. Ocon, look at the space here for Kewell on the left-hand side. He'll have a go at Karambeur. Karambeur just got a touch on there. That's a foul. Well, Patrick Vieira came in very quickly to support Karambeur. The danger of Kewell is there for all to see.
The decibels just go right through the roof, don't they? Every time Harry gets it. Why not? He is so positive with everything he does. He's got the ball at his feet, one defender in front of him. I'm going to have a go at you.
No hesitation at all, is it?
Absolutely none.
So, Australia with Lazaridis. They scored against France from the set piece in the Confederations Cup. They scored from a set piece for a first half goal here. Throw into the Socceroos. Well, there was an interesting comment from Roger Lemaire during the week that he said that the quality of Australia as they win a corner, it's not individuals like Kewell and Viduka, it is their collectiveness, that as a team They truly are a well-oiled unit, and their spirit and comradeship really serves them on the pitch as well. That was the strength and that was the spirit of this Australian side. Well, he's got the look of a worried man, Barthez. Lazaridis' corner was the source of a first-half goal. Oh, good hit. Loose ball! Well, it was more at the end of it again. Well, play goes on, no foul. Three players, and it's fallen nicely for Vidmar. Australia keeping possession well. For the moment, anyway. And now France with their own pacey attack of Nicholas Anelka. He'll have a go at Moore as well. No cover on Moore. Anelka coming in to run at him, and that's a great challenge. A lot more space now out there, Paul.
Yeah. This is when you've got to ask yourselves the questions. This is when you're getting tired and the game's played at 100 miles an hour. And mistakes are made.
Perez. Zidane going outside him. Wiltor. As Carrier gets involved. France trying to spread Australia thin at the back. Skoko nowhere really to go forward, and that's another loose ball from Australia. Carrier. And now, what's on? Moore. Onside is Kuhl. Aloisi's waiting in the centre. Viduka's holding back a bit on the edge of the area. Kuhl goes past one, but couldn't get past Leboeuf.
It's a favourite of his, isn't it? You knock it one way, you go the other. But I mean, how can you stop it? You know what he's going to do. You're backing off. You know you can't dive in because he knows when you're going to dive in, and he'll just knock it.
And if you touch him, he goes down for a penalty.
You're gone.
Nice play. France playing their way out of a tight spot, but not completely, as Australia take over again. They've got control of the game, really, Australia now, probably for the first time in the match. "19 minutes remaining at the MCG. Condola goes back to Barthez. Crowd want him to come out and just do something, don't they? Slip over, miss kick, something. Wiltor. Carrier is joining in every attack. He's virtually a third attacker. Zidane waiting on the edge of the area. Zizou is his nickname. You hear the players calling Zizou every time he gets the ball. Carambert, good cross. Murphy's a big man and a hard man to get over. Emerton. And we're really for him to go. That's a mistake in a dangerous place. Zidane. Well, Emerton made up for the error. Well, a little bit of generosity coming into the Australian game to the French, and it's one thing France don't need is any help anywhere. A loose ball. Must tackle there, won by Skoko. That was absolutely vital, and that's well wide in the end. But Skoko there saw a French goal or a tackle to him, and he made it his.
Yeah, they've showed great commitment in that final third. They've won everything, but unfortunately they put themselves in a bad position. There's a good header there, but he won the tackle, and then, well, we've seen that sort of shot go in the Confederations Cup. Thank goodness it didn't this time.
Well, Marco Bresciano, another Melbourne boy, is coming on for Josip Skoko, who's not too far from here, Geelong. So Bresciano, who is making a big impact for Empoli in Serie B, which is the second division of Italian football. comes on. He's just his 6th appearance for Australia. So he's a young man. He walks out onto the pitch in his hometown alongside Zinedine Zidane. Karambur guilty of another foul, this one on Viduka. Clattered into the back of Viduka, really. Well, it was an immediate apology, but Viduka will have felt that one. And we're really for more to go. France push up. Australia go all the way back to the keeper. Cristiano. Oh, that's a poor ball. It could be a costly one. Look at the pace on Anelka. Whips in the shot. Oh, Nicolas Anelka is a top quality striker, no doubt about that. He replaced Thierry Henry in this French squad after the Arsenal man pulled out. Anelka, a former Arsenal man, of course. Had a year in Spain at Real Madrid, and now he's in Paris, his hometown for Paris Saint-Germain. Wiltord running at the defence. That will be an easy one to cut out, and there's time here for Everton.
Well, Craig Foster's down on the sideline. Craig, are they getting tired? These Aussie boys, they seem to be giving possession away in that defensive third.
I think, thankfully, Wadey, there's some mistakes creeping in on both sides, because France has had some great possession outside our box, and I think in the second half here, Zidane's been below his best. Some of his defence-splitting passes that we know he's capable of haven't been finding their mark, and let's just hope that it stays that way. But I think they are. Some of our boys are certainly getting tired, but I just wonder how long Paul Ocon can go on, and one of the benefits out of this game has been for our skipper to get a top-class, world-class opposition match before we go into Tuesday week's big qualifier.
Oh, it's a great pass. Carrière, Karambur, extra man out wide. Danger here for Australia. That is well wide. Australia 1, France 1.
Some sad news down on the bench here, guys, from the French dressing room. The team doctor has sent the message over to us that he believes Dugarry has done his ligaments in his knee, and they believe that he may need a knee reconstruction. So some very bad luck there. I think there was no intent in the tackle from Kevin Muscat, but the way he went down, it did look quite horrid. So he's fallen awkwardly, and by all accounts has done his knee.
Well, that is a shame, and any complaints that club managers had about players coming back for friendly games in the middle of the season, and that can be well and truly loudly heard after that comment, Craig. It will further add fuel to their particular argument that these games shouldn't take place. France have a free kick with Anelka making his way into the area. About 13.5 minutes remaining in the match. Carrière to take it. Taken short. That'll give Australia a chance to push out, but they don't push out particularly quickly. Harry Kewell on the ball. Carrière chasing hard. Kewell skips inside. Karambur, he's got a lucky break there. Kewell, now there's a player coming back, and that will be a foul. Kewell didn't see him coming. Leboeuf. Well, it's an interesting one, that, because Kewell and Leboeuf go back a wee way with a bit of history there. Leboeuf was sent off for tangling with Harry Kewell a season or two ago in the Premiership. Not too much in that tackle, though, Paul. Or, well,
Completely missed it, didn't he?
With the view of a different angle, I changed my comment.
It was good to see Brett Emerton getting up there to support Harry on that occasion. Aloisi was there as well, so they did have numbers.
Azaridi's free kick. It's a corner. Now Murphy with this incredible run of goals of his. He's a central defender. He's not allowed over the halfway line in the old days, but he's got himself 3 international goals in 15 games from corners, from free kicks. That's where I'd be putting my corner on if I could aim for any player. It would be Murphy. It's gone low to the near post. Well played, Tony Vidmar. Emerton. Long to Viduka. Mabeuf there again. And that's a foul against John Aloisi. Carriere back to Anelka. Which way will the decision go? It's gone Australia's way.
He's done a terrific job tonight, Craig Moore. Nobody has beaten him for pace. He's won everything in the air. He has improved so much. Being at Rangers, he's a tough character, no nonsense. Looks after his goalkeepers. If I was a goalkeeper, I'd certainly want Craig Moore standing in front of me, making sure the opposition went nowhere near.
But he's hobbling quite badly after that challenge, and he has had some knee problems earlier this year, so we'll keep a close eye on Moore and see how he goes. You saw the pain on his face, and the flag's up for offside. Well, this is Alain Bohosian. Will be replacing Zinedine Zidane. Well, I for one say thanks for coming, Zidane. It's a pleasure to have you here. There's some lovely touches in the first half, and Alain Bohosian takes his place as Zidane moves to the bench. Vieira going short to pick up the ball. Extra responsibility on him and Perez now. Moore is still hobbling his way back into the area, and it's a good shot straight at Schwarzer. Well, it's interesting. Steve Horvath's now warming up for Australia because of Moore. I'm sure it's because of Moore limping away. That knee problem. Moore just glanced to the bench there while we're watching Harry Kewell take a throw, and Horvath will be on any second. Now, let's hope it's nothing serious. As Viduka goes down.
Sean Murphy has signalled to the bench, Paul, that another 5 minutes and Craig Moore must come off. But I agree with Paul Wade. He's had a wonderful game, and so Sean Murphy. I think the greatest compliment that you can give him, Wadey, is that David Trezeguet, rated one of the finest strikers in the world, along with Viltord and now Nicolas Anelka, really have not had the best of games, and they've made some of the world's greatest defenders look very, very ordinary in their time.
Here, here.
Well, a couple of changes coming up, one for France, one for Australia. Condelar. It's a loose ball which Australia will take advantage of with Viduka. Aloisi's charging forward, he checks his run. Viduka's got Harry Kewell outside him. That's in behind the defence. Kewell at full pace. Karenberg got there first. There'll be a substitution here for France with Silvestre coming on. Craig, you're just a bit closer to Craig Moore than what we are here. How do you see his situation?
He has signalled earlier, and so did Sean Murphy, that he does want to come off. He's been pointing down to his foot and shaking his head, so it's clear that he has picked up an injury. I think he'll be more than pleased with his contribution, but the big point for me in the second half, talking point, Paul, has been the contribution of Harry Kewell. The trouble with the guy is he's just so gifted that he's fantastic up front. He's done very, very well from the left midfield side in the last 15 or 20 minutes. But I just wonder whether Frank Farina will think that we're missing something coming through the centre of the park, because in the last 15 or 20 minutes of the first half, he was outstanding.
Well, you look at the two players who would normally line up there, and Scocco and Ocon, and neither of them are that penetrating type of player.
Perez still hoping to find a winning goal for France. Bresciano forced to do some defensive work.
And I'm thinking of teams of old. Paul Ocon, when you look, Aurelio Vidmar was that type of player, wasn't he? He had the ability to run 50 metres of the ground just to make sure that he'd get on the end of it with a cross.
I think the point for the Socceroos, Wadey, is this, that Harry Kewell in the first half looked our most likely to score. And I don't think that's really changed. So he's not going to be able to achieve that from the left midfield position. So, you know, you've got to ask yourself, well, is he better served for the team playing in behind these two strikers?
I have no doubt that someone will ask Frank Farina that at some stage in the next week. That's a great point you make, though, Craig. I must say, I'm a little bit surprised about how long it's taking to get Horvath on. If Moore is really struggling, I mean, the World Cup game is about 9 days away. They've got Tony Popovic also injured at the moment. They cannot afford to take any risks. Kewell coming inside. Lazaridis prefers to come from those deeper positions anyway. It might suit him better, and that's an Australian free kick. Burf giving it away. Always a little bit of expectation when Australia get a free kick. Murphy, the man to go forward again. Clear push in the back by Leboeuf on Viduka. Murphy's at the back post. Edmonton's in there. He's very tall. Viduka has got height. Aloisi strong in the air. It's a good looking picture for Australia. Oh, it was almost a better looking picture from them with the V-bomber coming in there. Just over the bar. It's still 1-1 with 5 to go.
Well, uncontested, he would have put this in the top corner, but there was some heavy traffic in front of him, all the white shirts pushing and shoving. It's just a matter of seeing if he could get his head on in the end.
Kewell now into the area. Kewell across. Well, he made something out of absolutely nothing then, Harry Kewell. And Australia almost stole a late winner. They've still got to be on their guard at the other end, though. Will Tor, that's a foul by Bresciano. It'll be a yellow.
It had to be a yellow, Paul, but a bit of a professional foul from Marco, just slowing down the play with Wiltord on the run going forward. But many non-soccer fans in the country, Paul, will ask, why is Harry Kewell rated at 40, 50 million Australian dollars? And you saw the reason there. Can I remind you that he just made Christian Karembeu and Frank Leboeuf, two of the world's greatest defenders, look very, very ordinary indeed. He is a very special player.
So 3 to go at the MCG. Australia have really had more of this second half than they did the first. Perez touches on, and that's a free kick to France. Bresciano giving away a couple in a short space of time. The rain has not stopped throughout the entire match. Perez has 7 white shirts in attacking positions to aim for. Oh, there's a chance for France here, blocked. Now, Barthez a mile out of his goal. Kewell waiting for some support. Kewell gets past Karembeu, who got a touch in there. He did very well, the French defender. That was a crucial touch from him. Barthez was off screen so you couldn't see it, but close to the edge of the centre circle in support of his team. Backpedaling rapidly when he saw Harry Kewell with the ball. Oh, opportunity for Carrier. Pulls it back, Perez! Bresciano with a block he knew nothing about, but it was very well hit by Perez. Still France looking to finish off the game. Australia with the same thoughts in mind as Aloisi breaks. Emerton, the man on the right-hand side, will keep it in. Silvestre, one of the quickest defenders in England, and he takes the ball off Emerton there. Carrier, lovely touch. Loose header. Wiltor. Anelka, nowhere really for him to go. Wiltor with the cross. France really lining up at the back post to try and find something. We're in the last minute of the game. A little moment of pressure and a little nod from Frank Farina as if to say well done for hanging in there. Graham Arnold, the assistant coach behind him. The last charge from France. The flag stays down. He's not offside. Carrier's made a big difference since coming on as a sub. A really lively player. He's the current French footballer of the year. Oh, close to a handball there by Murphy. Emerton is patient with his defending. There's an Australian player down. He's just going to knock it out.
And it's Craig Moore again.
Well, this time perhaps he's got to come off. I'm not sure whether it was the same part of the body. No, it looks like he's holding his stomach, but he's still got that hobble about him. There, well, that's what the problem was, the studs in the stomach by Perez. Well, they won't be exchanging shirts after the game. Involved in that first half altercation, the two players. We've had almost a minute of time added on here. Craig Moore with that glint in his eye of noting the number 7 of Robert Perez. Is there to be a late winner? And the Socceroos match up against the world champs. Anelka, good pace. A loose ball, Vieira! Well, there was no holding back, no point in doing that. He really hit that one beautifully. Anelka with the early damage. Schwarzer had it covered, even if it had gone underneath the bar. Neither of these two sides have had a draw so far this season. Still a minute or so to go in the game. Draw for Australia would be quite a wonderful result. Oh, maybe it's not going to be one. Maybe Aloisi can finish it. He's gone down. The crowd baying for a penalty. There looked to be a nudge in the back of Aloisi there. And that foul is given. And Frank Farina is furious, and you can't blame him. Aloisi, the ball broke beautifully for him. He was in the area. That's a penalty. Not given. Emerton now breaks for Australia. Still drama left in this game. It's a deep one. Barthez is struggling to get there. Aloisi will get there. Kuhl's just holding off. Aloisi plays it to Kuhl. The Duke is waiting in the centre. This is Bresciano Ocon. Vidmar will keep it. Australia don't want to lose it there. Full time at the MCG, but the one thought in all of the Australian fans' mind is the penalty incident at the game when Aloisi clearly went down under the challenge from Silvestre. It wasn't given, and the end result is the points shared here with Moore, a first-half goal for Australia. Trezeguet, an equaliser for France in the second half. Kevin Muscat was taken off by Frank Farina in the second half in an ugly incident with Dugarry, but Australia's stocks continue to rise. They have held the world champions. Australia 1, France 1. Well, that is the sort of result that will make the rest of the world take notice, particularly in South America. This was the real deal. The top French team, the best team in the world, and they have been matched by this Australian side. It's an Australian side that has real flair about it as well, and we will cross now down to the touchline for an interview.
Thanks very much, Paul. Down here on the skipper of the Socceroos, Paul Ocon, who must be very happy at the end of 90 minutes to play so well, so disciplined, and to get a good result like that. You would consider that a good result?
Yeah, I mean, going 1-0 up and then conceding a goal just after half-time, I think we're a little bit disappointed with that. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, the result wasn't the most important thing. Hopefully, there are no injuries. Everybody's gets through it okay, and look forward to coming back in 90-day time to qualify for the World Cup.
There's going to be lots and lots of questions, both in the squad and in the public, as to where Harry should play. Where did you think he was most effective tonight?
I think Harry can play anywhere, I guess. He showed out wide that he's very, very dangerous when he gets a lot of space. But I think we need him up front with Dukes. Hopefully, he played the wicket.
And on a more personal note, how did you feel out there, considering you hadn't had much match time?
Yeah, I felt okay, and hopefully I'll be fit for the next game. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Paul Ocon.
There you go, the Australian skipper, grateful to have 90 minutes under his belt. I'm sure he came into this game a little underdone with things, but he can walk off the pitch a proud man, a proud Australian captain with the way his team has played tonight. Australia 1, France 1.